If you're enjoying our podcasts, especially the ones that Coach Sarah does, you can check out the transcripts over at www.coachedandloved.com. All of our existing transcripts are on the blog in the category Podcast Transcripts. Crazy! I know they're totally hidden. Head on over to www.coachedandloved.com. We got all kinds of things to say, and that is where we say them.
In my head, I'm always walking around like a director on a movie set. And cut! Let's take a tight 15, everyone! Tight! Can I get hair and makeup in here? In real life, the only one taking direction from me is me. Hi, this is Coach Sarah, and this is the Morning Mantra.
Hi, my name is MK Fleming. I'm a run coach based in Denver, Colorado. But this isn't a podcast about running exactly. Don't tell my clients, but we're never really talking about the running. When you know a craptastic event is coming, it helps to have a mantra to keep you centered and focused as you move through it. You don't have to be an athlete to be #coached and loved by Coach MK. And if you are here, then you are #winning at life.
Today's mantra is, and action. And action. I have a lot of friends with new babies right now. Some new isn't approaching 1 year, and some new isn't approaching 6 weeks. And I've heard people say that these are the times in parenting that you don't really remember accurately, that you mentally erase some of the difficulties, and you look back on this period with a somewhat manipulated sense of nostalgia. Maybe this will happen to me at some point, but it hasn't happened yet. I see a 6-week-old baby, and I remember what 6 weeks was like. The difficulties we were having with nursing at that point, all the Googling I was doing to try and find solutions, the panic that set in every time a nursing session went completely off the rails. And I see a 12-month-old baby, and I remember how stressful 12 months was. Every single outing was just like, oh my God. My baby was, of course, fully mobile and wanted to do everything herself, but also couldn't do anything herself. And she wanted to get around, and she wanted to be everywhere, but it was not safe to let her get around and be everywhere in most places besides our home. She wanted to be held, and she wanted to be put down, and she wanted to be held, and she wanted to be put down. And if I tried to put someone else in charge of supervising her so I could go pee, she'd break down completely. And it was just, oh my God, it was really awful sometimes. And I know that there were cute and fun times too, and I see pictures of her at that age, and I'm like, oh my God, those cheeks, oh my God, you were so cute. She was so cute. So I know that that was a thing, but I honestly remember very little of what was cute and fun. I remember stress and ache and loneliness and feeling like everyone was looking at me as I struggled and judging my ability to love my baby. And then several months ago, I read a letter to Nicole Cliff in Slate's Care and Feeding column, in which a tired mom of 3 young kids wrote that she was having a hard time feeling a connection to her youngest baby. I'm doing all the practical things I need to do to take care of her, the mom wrote. My husband does all the feeding and holding and playing, and I feel terribly that I hardly have any bond with her. And I loved Nicole's response, and I've come back to it again and again. First, she says, please get evaluated for postpartum depression, because an inability to feel joy in your baby is a really common way for PPD to present. Then Nicole says this, whether you are depressed or just experiencing a slower burn towards bonding with your baby, please remember that love is an action. You are doing a great job loving your baby. You are meeting her needs and making sure she receives the love and affection she has to have in order to thrive. Sometimes love doesn't feel like you think it should. And remember what MK says about how it's shaming to live in the should do. Yeah, feeling the feelings of love that you feel like you should feel based on what other people say, based on what you see in the movies or you read about in the baby books, it's actually really hard. And in certain states of deep sleep deprivation, it's borderline unattainable. Remember what I said a couple of minutes ago. I'm not a parent who remembers the lovey-dovey things about having a baby. I mostly remember the really, really hard things about having a baby, the logistics and the frustration and the trying and trying again. I know in the abstract that I felt a lot of love towards Roz even in the hard times, but it's nothing like what I consciously feel towards her now as a 3-year-old. I know that when she was small, I wondered whether I loved her enough. And that's why I love this answer that Nicole Cliff gave, because I do remember the work that went into caring for Roz. It helps me to remember that the actions, the millions of decisions I made in that time, they were the love. Being a parent is up there with the most extraordinary performances of your life. When you are on, you are on. And I'm not saying that everything you do as a parent is an act, because it's not fiction, but a lot of it is a performance. When I put Roz to bed at night, I tell her I love her, I hug her and I kiss her, and then I give her one more hug and one more kiss and one more hug and one more kiss. And I mean it, and I feel it, and I know it's real. And then I turn the lights out, I close the door, and it's as if I hear a film director yelling, "Cut!" and my body just relaxes the tiniest bit. Because it's a wrap for the day. I got through the entire take and I only screwed up a couple of things. And you know what? I'll get another shot at it tomorrow. Roz is old enough now that she occasionally has notes for me on my performance, and I try to accept them gracefully and incorporate them into my understanding of the role on an ongoing basis. But I also try to cut myself some slack and assume that at times the role of the loving mom is going to feel like acting more than like being. Some film directors are famous for simply not caring whether their actors are working through the right emotions on set, whether you're crying because you're so emotionally invested in your character that you feel genuine sadness, or whether you're crying because you're secretly tweezing your leg hairs off camera. They don't care, because what they need to get is you crying on camera. And as long as they're getting that, they are good. Cut. That's a wrap. When you doubt yourself, new parents, remember this. The work you are doing to care for your child in the extremely dependent years is love. And it's the sort of love that is needed really more than any other. Babies need feeding and cuddling and holding, and they also need doctor's appointments and shots and clothing that fits them and keeps their bodies warm enough or cool enough, as the case may be. They need the perfunctory things. They need parents who are getting the bare minimum of enough sleep to perform the perfunctory things. They need parents who are earning paychecks to keep the lights on and the fridge stocked. In meeting their needs, you are loving them. To come back to the mantra, I never want you, new parent, to feel like your feelings or lack of feelings are wrong. Your feelings are what they are, and if you're worried about what they might signify about the state of your mental well-being, please tell someone about them. Ask to be evaluated. But whether they fall into the worrisome category or not, your feelings are valid and you are not failing in any way. You are capable of loving your baby even when you don't feel movie-grade baby love coursing through your heart. In fact, you are already doing it. Love is an action, and you're doing it. Anchor yourself. Get ready to walk onto that set. And action. You're already killing it.
You are coached. You are loved. And you are winning at life. And you are definitely winning at life if you subscribe to my Nuzzlenut newsletter, follow me on Facebook, or follow me on Instagram. Feel free to do all three. Don't forget, if you need a mantra, you can always ask for one at info@coachedandloved.com. Again, that's email info, INFO, @coachedandloved.com.